Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, back to do another Wild Eye review. Today I'm going to review for you HI-8, or Horror Independent 8. Now this is an anthology series that I've been really wanting to watch from Wild Eye. And yeah, they finally sent it to me, and it was in the last batch of films that I got, and I was really looking forward to seeing it. But before I do this review, I wanted to take the time to thank Wild Eye for sending me a copy of this to review for you guys. They have a great channel and a great YouTube site that I will link in the description box below. Definitely check them out. They have a ton of stuff, and a lot of it is really good. They are low budget, but they do give filmmakers their start, and that is so important with independent horror. So, HI-8 is a 2013 film that runs 98 minutes, and it is a SOV, or shot on video anthology. I was so looking forward to seeing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some information about each of the segments and rate them, and then give the overall package a rating. So without further ado, let's get started. What I'm going to do first is the wraparound, which you're going to see if you guys do watch this, which I do highly suggest you do. This is the, of course, wraparound, which starts and stops in every segment. Now, the wraparound is called No Budget Film Presents, and it's written and directed by Brad Sykes. And this is basically about a couple of guys and a girl who are making a independent horror film shot on video. It's kind of like a slasher, and they end up doing it in this cave. Is one of their like main scenes, and they like run into like it almost looks like a bum, and he kind of takes a liking to what they're doing and making a movie. And yeah, I'm kind of gonna leave it there. Of course, some sinister stuff happens, but you're not really sure who it is. But I'm gonna leave it there. It's a lot of fun. I give it an 8, and I can almost guarantee that you will not guess the end. So that goes, of course, into the first segment, which is called Switchblade Maniac. And that's written and directed by Tim Ritter. Now, if Tim Ritter sounds familiar, he, of course, did the Truth or Dare series. Of course, one of my favorite shot-on-video films of all time. And, you know, he's been really big into the whole, you know, independent horror scene. Now, Switchblade Maniac kind of is like a narration of a woman who is following her husband and kind of praising him for being a great husband, great father. But when he goes on business trips, he does something completely different. He is a serial killer. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm not really, you know, these segments, of course, are very short. But, you know, there are some twists and turns, so I'm going to leave that one there. I really did enjoy that one. I'm going to give that one an 8 as well. The segment after that is called A Very Bad Situation. And it's a bunch of people are in a storage unit. And it seems like kind of like an end of the world, or like an invasion or something, or some kind of a contamination or contagion or something like that. And there are people in a storage unit, and a guy comes up and starts banging on the door to be let in, and they let him in, and he starts explaining about what the contagion is because he's been out there on the street, and the other people in the storage unit have been in the storage unit for almost the entire time. So that's where you kind of get to know what's happening in the world that we're living in now. And I'm going to leave that one there because it gets pretty cool. I didn't like that one quite as much. I enjoyed it, but it didn't. How do I put it? It was a little too short, and I could have. That one could have been a little bit longer for me. I'm going to give that one a 7. And then we go to the tape. That's the next segment. This one is directed by Tony Musello and written by Matt Hill. This one is about, and I really enjoyed this one. This one was fun. This one was right up my alley. It was about a video store that was going out of business, and a guy was helping his friend kind of close the video store because people were buying videotapes, and it was kind of akin to what we go through on YouTube when we find videotapes. And there are so many more collectors for VHS now. It's like, finding the next golden videotape, that's worth something. You guys know what I mean, I'm sure. So as he's helping his friend close the video store, the owner has a box of tapes that kind of have been just sitting there, and he gives them to the guy, because it's his friend, and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with these. Why don't you just take them? So the guy takes them home. He pops one of the ones in, and the one is called Bloodgasm, I believe is what it's called. And it's an independent film shot by an unknown guy. Never heard of it. So the guy's thinking, well, I really like this. Maybe I can, buy the rights to this and release it as an independent horror film, since it was never really released, and find the guy who shot the original film and make, a ton of money off of it. Well, I'm going to say he ends up finding the guy that shot the film, and that's all I'm going to say. This one was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. The segment after that was Going in Style, which was written, produced, and directed by Ron Bonk. Now, if that sounds familiar, he is the gentleman who I do believe owns Sub Rosa Cinemas. And they, of course, specialize in shot-on-video horror films, for the most part. Now, Going in Style... No, I'm sorry. It's not Going in Style. It's called Gang Them Style, kind of like the song, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. Gang Them Style by Ron Bonk was my absolute favorite segment in this video. This was a blatant ripoff, but a very self-aware and fun ripoff of Escape from New York. It even uses a little bit of the soundtrack in it. It is completely hysterical. And it has a guy who talks like Snake Plissken, and he's trying to rescue his grandmother from an old age facility because there is a zombie apocalypse. And his name is his last name is McCready, so it pays homage to The Thing, and it's so funny. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I'm kind of going to leave it there because I think any horror fan, whether you're a shot-on-video fan or not, will love this segment. It is just so much fun. I'm going to give that one a 9.5. I thought that was incredible. Just, it made me laugh, and it kept me thoroughly entertained, and I actually wanted more from it. Okay, so the segment after that is called Gender Bending. It is, let's see, written, produced, and directed by Chris Seaver. And this one is a little bit weird. It's about a kind of like a heavy girl, and she's being stalked by a strange guy with a hat, and it's just very weird. He ends up in her house, and he's not who you think he is, and then somebody else shows up, and I'll just have to leave it there. I mean, I can't really say too much about this without spoiling it, but it's really weird. It's funny. It's goofy. Um, Not one of my favorite ones out of the entire thing, but I am going to give it a 7. I did enjoy it. Let's see. I'm sorry I have to be so vague on some of these, but they are very short segments, and if I say too much, I'll give it away. Okay, the segment after that is called The Request, and it's written and directed by Todd Sheets. Now that name, of course, sounds familiar. He just did Bone Hill, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure that's Todd Sheets. But this one was a lot of fun. This was about, and it's very simple. This was about a radio personality who is a DJ, and he takes requests. And some weird stuff starts to happen. You start to revisit things that happened in his past. And I really can't say any more than that, or else I'm going to give some stuff away. But it's a lot of fun. It's a really solid short, and I'm going to give that an 8. The segment after that is called Thicker Than Water, and it is written and directed by Donald Farmer. This one was interesting. It was about a family that has secrets, and I kind of need to leave that one there because if I say anything more about that, it's going to ruin that one. I'm going to give that one a 7.5. I enjoyed it. I just didn't quite enjoy it as much as some of the other ones. The last entry is called The Scout, and that one is also written and directed by Brad Sykes, who also did the wraparound. This one is about a guy who wants to make a movie, and he's scouting a location in the desert, and he has a girl with him that he wants to be in the film, and it just turns into a trippy, interesting time. And unfortunately, I have to leave it there because I can't really say more about this. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, because if I say anything more about that one, I'm going to give the story away, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to give that one an 8.5. I really did enjoy it. Now, this has been quite a long video, but this was such a great film. This is going to be a little different of a rating than I give a lot of the other ones. I tried to average it out to the, the closest average that I could give it, and it comes up to an 8.25, and I think I'm going to stick with that. I really enjoyed this film. I highly recommend it to anyone who likes horror, who likes anthologies, and to be honest with you, I think there's something in here for everyone, whether you like shot on video or whether you don't. I think if you don't, you'll appreciate some of the stories. If you do, you're just going to fall in love with this. It's a fantastic film. I cannot say enough good things about it. And guys, definitely check this one out. But I wanted to take the time to thank Wild Eye again for sending me a copy of this to review for you guys. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.